This next demonstration will cover some of the Intel vPro features that Dell Client Manager and Altiris Client Management Suite tie into. So in continuing in our scenario-based demonstrations here as the IT administrator, let's open up this ticket submitted by user Joe, who is logging the incident from another person's computer because his is obviously inoperable. He says the internet started going slow, so he tried to fix it by downloading some utilities. He ran one, and now after rebooting his computer, it says that Windows can no longer start. So this system is what we term out of band, or doesn't have an operating system or a management agent for us to manage it. And it would be similar to a blue screen of death, or any operating system corrupted file that renders the system useless. So what Intel vPro allows us to do is, regardless of the operating system state or the power state of the system, you can still access that device through the chipset, being the network adapter and the motherboard and some NVRAM on the hardware of the system. So this is a new technology on the Optiplex 755 systems, also available on the Optiplex 745Cs and Latitude 630Cs. And will also be available in newer systems as Dell releases them. So to access this system via vPro, we would use the resource manager. So we can launch the resource manager and type in the system's name here and click Find to search for it, or OK to connect to it. Once we have connected to the resource manager of the system, we can go to the real-time tab, which allows us to access that system via WMI or vPro, whatever we can connect to that system. We'll use that technology. So in the right hand here, we see a system that's actually loaded into Windows, and we're going to duplicate what user Joe did. And so we're going to run this little batch file, which is going to delete the how.dll. And then we're going to reboot the computer to get to render the system inoperable, or render the system out of band. So this will reboot, and we'll see that same error message that we saw before. So now we're rebooting, and Windows would load if it had a healthy HAL.dll, but obviously we've deleted that, and so we see the same message that user Joe saw. So now that we've duplicated the situation, let's head back over to our management console and use vPro to remedy the situation. So we're connected to the system using Intel's active management technology. We have some power control options here, such as rebooting, powering off, or powering on the system. What we can actually do through vPro is display the boot progress of a system and or enter into the BIOS. As the system boots, you can go into the BIOS and manipulate any settings there. Since we have a corrupted HAL, what we want to do is what's called IDE redirection. We have an ISO file, or a CD, on our management station, and what we can do is we can supply that ISO, and that will be redirected down to the target system. Now if I had a CD, I could simply stick it into my drive, or floppy image. I could stick it into the drive of my management station, and that would be redirected to the client through the vPro technology as well. So by clicking Run Task now, that's going to open up a dialog so I can watch the boot progress. On the left there, I'll expand our target system on the right so we can see that these two both are matching up. So we didn't go into the BIOS, we actually are running our ISO as the IDE redirection is taking effect here. And this is loading a DOS utility, which will allow us to copy a healthy HAL.dll to that target system. So you see FreeDOS loads here, and we're presented with a menu. Now everything I click on my keyboard of the management station will also be redirected down to that target system that I'm trying to fix. So it saves us time from having to spend time on the phone with the end user telling them what to type. So we'll click the space bar, and it will copy down the healthy HAL.dll, which will take just a second. So now that has copied successfully, we have a healthy HAL.dll, and what we need to do is close our remote terminal here and issue a reboot command to our target system so it can boot back into Windows with its healthy HAL.dll file. So we saw just a couple of the features that vPro brings to the management table, definitely not all of them, but the ones that we saw will definitely help reduce the amount of desk side visits that out-of-band systems usually require, such as blue screen of death systems or HAL.DLL corruptions, or any system that can't get back into the operating system. So all due to the great chipset that Intel has released with vPro technology.